Hello and welcome to another edition of Senior Soundings. I'm your host, Gerry LePage, and we're really happy to have you along today. We're going to be talking about the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program sponsored by the East Bay Community Action Program, or EBCAP. And so with me today to explain this really important program are two of my colleagues from East Bay Community Action. Kim Wetherald, just to my immediate left, is the Director of the Office of Volunteer Services. And to her left is Eric Tapley, who is the coordinator for both the VITA program as well as RSVP, which is Retired Senior Volunteer Program. So again, my guests, thank you for coming, and tax season is coming up very soon. So let's talk a little bit more about what is VITA. Is it a full tax preparation service, or do you have just like coaching where you coach people through how to complete the forms? Tell me a little bit more about that, and either one of you kick it off.
Well, thanks for having us here today, Gerry. We're excited to talk to the viewers about the VITA program and how important it is to the community. So we're a full start to finish tax prep service. So we partner with the IRS. East Bay Community Action Program has had a partnership with the IRS and the VITA program, which stands for Volunteers in Income Tax Assistance, for many, many years. The VITA program itself started about 50 years ago as a no-cost tax preparation service for low to moderate income folks. So people call us, we schedule an appointment, we let them know what they need to bring to their tax appointment, because there's a lot of important documents that folks need to bring, primarily driver's license, social security card, W-2s, any type of document that shows proof of income, pension statements, annuities, investments, and things like that. Mm-hmm. So we help a lot of families with this program because it's costly to get your income taxes prepared.
Yes.
Clients tell us that they're paying, they would be paying between $200 and $400. Last year, we were able to assist about just a little over 550 clients, Eric. Does that sound right? Yeah. And, everyone has to earn under $60,000 a year, generally speaking. We can do taxes for most clients. Some clients, we do have some limitations as to what we can do. We can't prepare tax returns for folks who own rental property. We can't prepare tax returns for clients who have filed bankruptcy in the last 3 years. But pretty much everyone else we can assist. Right, Eric? Can you think of it?
No foreign income.
No foreign income, yeah. That's another.
But that's the only other
criteria. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So people come in and we have our volunteers who are trained by the IRS to advanced level. The training is rigorous. It's not an easy exam to pass, especially at the advanced level. But we do have about 5 or 6 very seasoned AmeriCorps seniors, volunteers, age 55 plus, who help, and they're the experts, right, Eric?
They're the know everything experts.
Yeah,
when
because
it comes to VITA.
They've lived it. They know about the retirements and the pensions and the deductions and the annuities and all the investments and such. So we actually learn a lot from them, even though Eric and I are both certified to the advanced level. Our volunteers are just a wealth of information. We also are lucky to have the assistance of 20 or 30.
Yeah, we have about 25 signed up Roger Williams students right now.
Yeah, so the Roger Williams Law School students come to us to complete their pro bono work each year. And so we are lucky. Sometimes we have students who return for the full course of their 3-year time in the law school at Roger Williams, and they provide a tremendous amount of support working one-on-one with the clients.
Well, you kind of answered a question that I was going to ask, because again, if you're serving hundreds of people in a tax season, you have to have more than just a handful of staff and volunteers to do that. So it sounds as though these Roger Williams students really contribute a pretty significant portion of the whole service.
Yeah, we have quite a few returning students this year.
Great.
Which is great because they already have the knowledge. Now they have more knowledge going into this year, and they'll gain even more knowledge. We even have a 3rd year returning student.
Great.
Dedicated group of kids, and bright group of kids, personable, on time, punctual, just fantastic to work with it. And they bring a lot of energy to the table too. They have not a lot of experience with some of the clients that we serve, and so it's a real learning experience for them too, and it becomes almost like an intergenerational project as well, because we have our senior AmeriCorps senior volunteers who have been with us probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years, some of them, and the students learn tax law from them. Right. And then the students, share tax law with us too. So it's great. We have 2 locations this year. One is in East Providence at 610 Waterman Avenue. That's in the East Providence Senior Center. There's a little annex building there called Breed Hall. We have done taxes there for several years in a row now, and it's a lovely site. And we're lucky to have them host us in the East Providence area. We'll be operating that site on Mondays
and Tuesdays. We'll be in East Providence.
And what are the hours? Are they just standard hours?
8 to 4.
8 to 4?
Yep, 8 to 4. And then our second location is at the Benjamin Church Senior Center, which is in Bristol, on the corner of Chestnut and Hope Street. It's 1020 Hope Street, and they offer us the whole 2nd floor of the building, and we'll be there Thursdays and Fridays assisting clients from 8 to 4 as well.
Great. I'm familiar with both of those senior centers, and the Benjamin Church, again, upstairs is where we do the Medicare counseling, and of course we just concluded a very busy open enrollment season, but it's a beautiful facility. And I did want to get back to a question though on, you mentioned that the program is available for people who make $60,000 a year or less. Is that for like a single person household, or how does the size of the household affect that income aspect of qualifying?
Good question. So the entire household is under $60,000. And the reason that we do that is so that way we can maximize the credits that we give out to each household, which we'll discuss later.
Yeah. So basically, if you're married filing joint and have 4 dependents, or if you're single, the combined annual income is that 60,000 or under number. Yeah.
I see. Okay. I think we're talking about, we've kind of segued into that income tax credit, so earned income tax credit. So please elaborate on what that is.
So there's a few tax credits that are important to the seniors who may be watching this as viewers, and to other clients as well who may be married filing joint, married filing single, separately, head of household. There's all kinds of different filing statuses. So we walk through the client at the appointment to identify what's the most beneficial tax filing status for them. That's always step one. But the earned income tax credit is a credit that you can get if you are earning, if the household is earning under $63,698 a year. That would be if you were married filing joint and had 3 dependents. So even though some of your viewers, I know the show is called Senior Soundings, but this information might be helpful for their children, their grandchildren, their friends, their neighbors, anyone who is watching today.
Yeah, we know that in addition to seniors, a lot of their adult children who are caregivers are watching as well. So this is really important information for that entire community of senior care.
So another part of that criteria to get the earned income tax credit is you have to have investment income below $11,000 in tax year 2023. So remember, when we're talking about tax years, we're always talking about the year before.
Right.
Sometimes people get confused and they're doing their 2024 taxes, and we're like, well, that hasn't happened yet. So so you have to also have an investment income of below $11,000. You have to have a valid Social Security number by the due date of your 2023 return. This year, the tax filing season for us will begin around January
22nd this year.
22nd, and we'll go right through April 15th. So it's a long 3.5 months of tax season.
Sure.
And you also have to be a U.S. citizen or a resident alien all year for that. They call it EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit. But it does support a lot of people, and it really helps people financially because, of course, you know, tax credit is always something that can provide more on your refund end. So the next tax credit we wanted to talk about is that a lot of our clients qualify for. It's called the Child Tax Credit. Eric, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So the child tax credit is worth up to $2,000 per child. And the only qualifications that you need for this credit is that the child lived with you all year, has a valid Social Security number, and is under the age of 17. And there's no limit on number of children claimed. So if you have 3 or 4 children, they don't cut you off. You're allowed to collect up to $2,000.
Per child.
Per child.
Yes, per dependent.
Now, I know a few families who have become foster parents as well. So they may have their own, you know, children from the couple, but then they may have 1 or 2 other foster children as well. Do those foster children count as in
I
terms
don't
of part
believe
of the
so,
household?
but I don't want to misspeak.
So I believe that transfers to the Child and Dependent Care Credit, which you can claim when you take care of someone, whether they be a child or someone over the age of
relative.
17 that's, you know, you pay more than half of the expense for them to live in your home, or a relative who's disabled or something like that. So that would be a different credit, but with the same premise.
All right, sorry I kind of jumped ahead there, I guess. So
No,
I'm
that's
sure
good.
you were
Thanks,
planning.
Eric. Thanks for filling us all in on that one.
Yeah, so you were planning on talking about that, I'm sure. So please continue.
So the credit starts at a $2,000 amount and then scales down when your income raises up. Now, there's no realistic limit on the income. It's $400,000 is the income
Quite
limit.
high, really high.
But as you scale up, the credit value scales down.
I see.
So lower income families with multiple children, they get for the most part, $2,000 per child.
They benefit
Yeah, a lot.
significantly.
Right,
Yeah.
those are significant adjustments to their income.
Yeah.
Right. We've had clients come in who, you know, don't know about these tax credits, and then when we tell them that they're eligible and we do the math and put it into the system, they're just amazed at the help that they just got and the income, you know, the extra money that they'll have to, you know, pay for basic things like heat and food and housing. So we have a lot of very grateful clients, and they come back every year. A lot of our clients, I would say over 60% of our clients are returning clients. So speaks well of the program itself and of the wonderful job that our volunteers do.
And I think my favorite is when the returning client comes in and asks for a specific senior volunteer. And, you know, we always oblige that.
Of course.
That must be a pretty complicated issue, though. If you have a set group of volunteers working out of a certain location, that means you need to make sure that for people who are requesting a specific advisor to slot them in sometime before the tax season ends.
Mm-hmm. And Eric is the master at scheduling. It's a little tricky when you're scheduling 30 students based on their academic schedule, their spring break schedule, their holiday schedule, and then our retired senior volunteers are available, and they put countless hours in.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed is, you know, over here from Portsmouth. Ed is, 2 full days a week, 16 hours a week.
Wow.
Noreen in East Providence,
16 hours.
George in Barrington. Yeah, I don't want to forget anyone, but I can't name them all. But they're all just very dedicated and just a wonderful, wonderful group. And they know these credits by heart, and everyone keeps abreast of the changes to the tax law each year, the increases in eligibility income or the decreases, or however it works out, what the Fed's doing that year. Mm-hmm. There is one more tax credit that really can help seniors and residents a lot, and it's the Rhode Island property tax credit.
Oh, yes.
This is completed on a form called a 1040H, and we do, I don't know, hundreds of these.
Yeah, hundreds.
During the tax season. The Rhode Island property tax credit can give folks who qualify an extra, what's the limit this year?
It's an extra $650.
$650 right off the top. So sometimes seniors might come in and say, geez, I don't think I need to file a tax return because I have Social Security and I make this much in Social Security and it's non-taxable income. We all know that. But we tell them that they might qualify for this property tax credit. Mm-hmm. And we go through the paperwork and the criteria with them, and many of them do. You have to be over 65, and you have to have been domiciled in Rhode Island for all of the tax years. All of your property tax has to be caught up on. You can't be behind in your property tax payment. And your household income must have been less than $37,870. Okay. So that's the cutoff. So if you're over 65 and you, or you're in the disabled community, a member,
that's a big one, because a lot of people will say, well, I'm only 40 years old, but I'm on disability.
Right.
And I only collect Social Security.
Mm-hmm. SSDI, yeah. So You also have to have lived in the household or rented a home that was subject to property tax, because this is a property tax credit. So sometimes renters think that they don't qualify, but they may qualify if, particularly those who are living in some sort of housing, community housing or senior housing. Those folks, if a portion of that rent that they pay goes towards paying the property taxes on those buildings, those renters are entitled to a credit of some sort based on what their rent was.
That's another
what they were
scaling
paying. Yeah. So, and then if you own your own home and you're living in it year round and you're up on your taxes, and you file for the Rhode Island property tax credit, most of those folks get the maximum of the $650. So $650 can go a long way in someone's pocket.
Sure. Now, is that $650 added to the rebate, or is it an adjustment to the income?
No, it's
It's a state rebate.
It's a state check. Yeah. It's fully. Sometimes it takes a while to get the checks in the mail.
Yes.
From the state. We have people calling us and saying, "I don't have my check yet."
It is Rhode Island.
Right. But all of our income tax, can't say all, but 99% are filed electronically. And we encourage clients to use a direct deposit method, if possible. And if not, we can do a paper return and they can mail it in, but it does take months to get the return if you're getting a refund versus weeks if you are filing electronically. So just to say that what you bring to your tax appointment is probably the most important thing. Again, you need to bring those W-2s, your Social Security award letter, your Social Security card, a photo ID. What else, Eric?
Any income that they have.
Oh, your rent receipts?
Rent receipts,
If
retirement income, just.
What about like the previous year's return?
That's helpful. That's a great question, Gerry. We encourage people to bring a previous year's return. Sometimes they will maybe be getting a bigger refund than they did last year, or maybe they're getting less of a refund than they did last year, right?
Yeah.
And they question, well, why am I getting only, $1,200 when last year I got $1,700 and nothing's changed? So we can then pull out that tax return and see what the difference might have been or what the reason could be. And usually it takes a little detective work, but usually it's something that they forgot, or they maybe have medical insurance through ACA, the Affordable Care Act. With Health Source Rhode Island, they need to bring their 1095B health forms with them so that we can see what their tax credits were for that tax season. So, but it really takes some time to look at the paperwork, go through the paperwork, and sitting face to face with the clients is kind of a delightful experience, if you will. They will talk to you about things, and you kind of, at the end of the appointment, you kind of feel like you almost know them fairly well.
Right.
And yeah. It's,
well, we have just a couple of minutes left now, so are there any final thoughts you'd like to share on the Income Tax Assistance Program itself, or maybe elaborate on some of the other programs that EBCAP offers?
Sure. Well,
take it away.
First of all, we'd like to say, give us a call at the number that you'll see on the screen, the East Bay Community Action Office of Volunteer Services, the 435-7876. Our extension is 1137. To schedule an appointment, we'll be taking appointments
First week of January.
first week of January, but we'll answer the phone and schedule it anyway if you call before, I'm sure. But that's, take the first step and reach out to us so that we can get you the free tax help that you need and save some money for sure.
I'd also like to add that if anyone would like to use the same number and they're interested in helping with the program,
Yes.
I'm always looking for new senior volunteers.
Absolutely.
I do all the training with you, teach you what you need to know, and our other senior volunteers are always willing to step in and help where needed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good volunteer opportunity right here in the East Bay. And if you're not comfortable thinking that, oh my gosh, someone's taxes, this is really serious. How am I going to pass that exam? What am I going to do? We also have other volunteer needs at the sites. We have folks who we call greeters, and the greeters have an intake form. They have a little clipboard with a survey on it and some paperwork that the client needs to complete before the tax appointment. The greeter also makes sure that the client has their social security number, their photo ID, and necessary documents so that we're able to actually complete the return. So the greeter is really important. They're the
first person you see when you walk in.
Yeah, when the greeter hands us the client's paperwork, it's all nice and neat and stacked up, and we know exactly where to start in the process. So we're always looking for greeters, and also anyone who would like to be trained up in tax prep for this year. It's not too late. You got plenty of time, and all the training is online, so it's easily done from home with Eric's support, and he's great at training. But yeah, that's our VITA program through the Office of Volunteer Services. We also have lots and lots of other volunteer opportunities at about 60 or 70 nonprofits throughout the East Bay.
Yeah.
So you can do anything from walk dogs to be a friendly visitor to someone, lead a health education workshop,
Deliver food.
deliver food with our portable pantry project.
Help out in our career closet.
Right. Help out in our career closet, our Age Well, Get Connected computer program where other seniors help their peers stay connected and learn about utilizing online tools and such.
Excellent. Well, we're just about out of time, so I want to thank you, Kim and Eric, for coming on and explaining the program. Thank you all for watching, and join us again next time on Senior Soundings.